Welcome to the Inner Health Foundation. My name is Isaiah. I'm going to be your guide today in learning about the system of true body intelligence and all the amazing things it has to offer you, your body, your life, your health and wellness, your family and your community. I look forward to you learning and hopefully coming to see me for a session or for online consultation so that you can learn the many benefits this has to offer us. It's an incredible opportunity to become more embodied, more free in ourselves, more awake and aware and conscious and strong and relaxed, more in the essence of who we are, more in the expression of the genius of who we are, more in alignment with who we are, so that we can function on a high level, access what we want in life, live an abundant, free, happy life, and serve all those around us. This is what the application of this system offers to all of us as human beings. And I look forward to you taking this invitation and bringing it into your life. I want you to know that as much as we can transfer on a video, the level of care and intelligence that I will apply to you in your process is a really high level. And I want only the best for you, so I only offer the best. My intention is to be clear and to be open and to be fully present with you so that you're doing the practice in a safe manner and getting the best results. So not just physically, but also emotionally, conversationally, you're held within a safe space to create more and more awareness and more transformation in your life. Okay, I look forward to serving you. I'm so pleased that you tuned in, and I hope that you have the opportunity to share this with people that you think you can serve or benefit. These tools are life-changing, without a doubt. Every single person that's come in contact with me that has actually applied the tools has had significant and amazing results. Now, we've done this for thousands and thousands of people. And this is my hope, is that you take this invitation to either call me and come to a personal session with me or to engage with life coaching online with me and start this process to becoming more fully who you are, to accessing your genius, to opening your heart, and to learning how to embody yourself and your potential to a higher degree. I used to have a lot of tension and pain in my body, a lot of emotional suffering, right? I was really in a place of struggle, and many of us are there, right? On the outside, we're successful, things are going well in our lives, there's nothing to complain about. Here we are in this abundant Western world, and yet at the core, there's some things we really need to work out, things we'd like to be different. And this system, practicing this physical system as well as the emotional, energetic, and mental system, I've learned how to integrate pieces of myself that were dissociated, disconnected, right? I wasn't even aware and open to them. And this can also help you to become more embodied, more connected, more strong and available to the moment, right? More vulnerable, more of who you really are. What's more important than you embodying who you are? You can apply embodiment and intelligence and connection in any format you want, in any job, in any environment, in any relationship. The only stable, steady foundation to everything you have in your life is you, your connection and access to yourself. True body intelligence offers us a gateway, right? A pathway into ourselves and into the opening and transformation of all the limiting aspects and the awakening of the higher aspects of who we are. So I look forward to engaging with you, helping you to learn these tools and start to apply them and empower yourself in your life. Nothing could be more important and more potent than your own self-transformation. Right? It's not a social movement that creates change in the world. It's you. You waking up and making choices that start to transform and churn who you are inside so that you start to shine and offer real value to the people around you in this world. That's what makes a difference. And that's what this process offers you when you engage fully and presently with it. Right? I'm here to coach you and help you to feel that, to start to learn how to do that, to start to feel that in your body and in your life. Nothing can be more potent or more valuable. And as a result, side effect is increased health and wellness, better immunity, better functioning on all levels, right? less pain, less suffering, more access to freedom. So the first thing we need to understand when learning about true body intelligence and how this can help you in your life is to really look at the aspects of it. What can it do for you, right? First, we know from experience that it can free and open dense tissues and create movement, which increases your healthy tissue, right? More important than how old you are is the health of your tissues. If you're storing toxicity, tension, and stress in your bodily tissues, that's more significant than your number of years, right? Your ability to be fluid and open and flexible and resilient and to move through life in an effortless way without pain and enjoy yourself requires that you have a low level of toxicity in your tissues. Otherwise, we're in a process of suffering. So, second thing you can do is decrease stagnation and constriction. Also, the most important thing in our tissues is that we get stagnant and constricted based on our lifestyle, our diet, toxicity, stress specifically, postural imbalances. All these things lead to constriction within our tissue. So True Body Intelligence frees that up better than any other system I've found so far. All right. Third is increasing the circulation of blood, lymph, and bioelectricity. 3 aspects of your body that need constant movement. This is facilitating that to a really high degree. 4, repairing and rebuilding fascia, which decreases your pain and increases your communication of your cells and of all the body systems. Number 5, returning bones to their original rotational relationships. So all your bones are being held and suspended by connective tissue and muscles, right? They're pulling this way and that way. And when we have a nerve impingement, a subluxation, and you have to go to the chiropractor, for example, the bone's being pulled out of alignment, out of rotational alignment by a muscle, by a fascial tissue, and then we have pain, right? But it's the muscular tissue and the connective tissue, the soft tissue, that's drawing it out. So a lot of times that's based in postural imbalance. It could be an injury. It could be emotional or mental stress, right? That's getting us into a place where we're holding on and constricting our energy, and our tissues are getting tight and pulling that bone out of place. And as it continues for a period of time, it leads to nerve pain and impingement. So over time, as we use this system of True Body Intelligence, the forces of eccentric and concentric resistance, we start to pull that tension out, and guess what? Bones are coming back into alignment, stacking properly, and pain goes away in your body. There are 5 systems within True Body Intelligence, but I'm going to focus today and in our sessions together on the first 3. So Ma Xing, eye-centric strength, and Bess. Ma Xing really means walking on the body. So I put you in a safe position, a comfortable position, and we go about walking on the hamstrings, the quads, the calves, and starting to break up the adhesions within the muscular and fascial tissues, and starting to get into the meridians, the energetic lines within your body, and freeing up that energy. The focus is really tissue health in that first stage. So more important than how old you are is how much tension, stress, and toxicity you've stored up inside of your tissue, right? You could be 85 years old and have a low level of toxicity, stress, and tension and be joyful and happy and freely moving in your body. But you could also be 20 years old, have a huge amount of stress, tension, and toxicity built up because of substance or emotional abuse or something else, right? And you could be suffering and in pain. So more important than years is tissue health. That's my job number 1 for you. In order to provide results, we got to get tissue health going. Second to that is a process called eye-centric strength, where you provide resistance and I beat your force. And we move through a range of motion with consistent, connected resistance and contraction of the muscles. And through that process, we start to affect structural health. Like we talked about before, the bones being aligned or misaligned relative to the connective tissue. When we eccentrically resist and open up the tissues of the body, we start to increase the ability of the body to hold proper structural health. So posture realigns, you get rid of pain, the body starts to open up and function in a new way. Third to that is teaching you how to stretch yourself. So for lack of a better word, this is a process of partner stretching, and this is a process of self-stretching. BEST stands for Bioelectric Self-Transformational Sequences. And there's a series that addresses every meridian in your body and all the major muscle groups. And I'll be coaching you through to learn this process so that you can build more esteem for yourself and better health maintenance. So this is a process that as you go through this with me, you start to learn the tools that you can apply every day in your own life, and you no longer need me or a lot of other natural health practitioners in order to maintain a high level of health and well-being. So if we're working together physically, one-on-one, the first thing I'm going to do is walk on your body, open up your body, get those tissues moving, get the energy that's been stagnant and stored up in your body, get it moving so that we can start to have a conversation, and more importantly, you can start to have a conversation with your own body that's valid, that's connected, that's present, and that's going to lead you to the answers you need to maintain a high level of functioning and happiness in your life. So there's many different mental models. This one I was taught by my teacher, Christopher Maher. It's called 3 rivers. It's very simple. We've got blood, lymph, or lubricated fluids, and bioelectricity within the body. These 3 rivers, if any one or all 3 of these slow down, we end up in a dry creek bed, right? And when they slow down, we go from being in a place of freedom and openness and happiness and free movement to being in a place of pain, dysfunction, stress, toxicity, unhappiness, and eventually death. It's a pretty bleak picture, right? But yet, it's what's occurring for all of us every day if we don't find a way to move these fluids through our body, right? We in the West are told that we need to suppress symptoms, take a pill, and really don't address what's going on in your body. But in the East, they're a little more holistic and holistic minded in their approach. And it's more about prevention and really understanding that, wait a minute, if I have pain or dysfunction or an excessive amount of stress, then I need to change something. These are signals from my body letting me know that I'm in a weakened state, a vulnerable state that could lead me into disease and dysfunction. And because I don't want that, I'm going to do something about it. Now, this system provides exactly those tools, exactly what you can do to not lead yourself down the road of death and dysfunction. We need to be able to lift ourselves up and have the tools in place in our mind, in our bodies, in our process, so that we can be fully functional and empowered and living the life that we want to lead for a long time to come. Okay? So, step 1, as I mentioned before, is mashing. Now, I'll be walking on the body, if you're here with me one-on-one, to remove stagnation, improve the flow of blood, lymph, and electricity, and create healthy tissue. Nothing more important than that in the beginning. Get that healthy tissue, get everything moving, and from there we can start to direct the flow. Yeah? Second, you as a client need to breathe relative to the level of discomfort. So the level of true sensation, I should say. So if I'm walking on you and your pain level is a 1, then we can talk about the groceries and walking the dog and whatever else random stuff in your life. Just a normal, easy breath. Right? If you're at a 10 out of 10 on the pain scale, meaning that you've stored up that much stress, tension, and toxicity in your tissues, and we have to get that moving, you're going to need to breathe relative to that level. So it's going to be like, right? Really matching that level of sensation. It's going to require you to breathe fully. So step number 1 in the process of working together is that you get honest about what your true level of sensation is and start to breathe according to that. Second to that is bringing the breath not only in intensity, but bringing it into rapport with your experience. So you could be in the process of experiencing discomfort and not only be breathing heavily and fast, but can you breathe consciously and connect the level of your breath with what you're experiencing and come to a place of integration where everything can settle in, right? That's the process of true healing, and breathing is the key to healing. Breathing is the most essential piece. You could apply all the tools we have written down here, and if you're not breathing, you're not going to be able to take much home. You're not going to be able to maintain a lot of the work we do in your body if you're not breathing. If you think about it, when we're children, we often hold our breath in the process of emotional experiences, or being told that we're doing something wrong, or we're fearful, or fright comes in because of something that we've done wrong, right? We are holding our breath in moments when we most need to breathe. And if you think about it, year after year after year of practicing that unconsciously, we start to store a lot of stress and tension in our body unnecessarily. It becomes a trap, right? When if we had breathed according to the level that we were feeling in the moment, in rapport with what we were experiencing, then we would not have held on to it in that moment, not nearly to the same degree. And then every experience after that, with proper breathing, we would have held a residual small amount compared to what we have. And so breathing is key. Breathing is an essential piece of healing in this moment, the traumas and stresses of the past, and also the key in this moment to not storing more stuff in your body, more stress, tension, and toxicity. Okay? So the breathing allows us to integrate the dissociated parts of ourselves. If we've been through trauma and stress, breathing is going to allow our nervous system and our emotional body and our brain, our mind, to settle into the moment and be like, this is intense, but it's okay. I'm okay. You're going to be able to integrate yourself in that moment. And the only time we really access healing is in this moment. The only time we become more whole or realize more of our wholeness is in this moment. It's not going to happen in the future, and it didn't happen in the past. It's only in this moment. One thing that this work offers us is constant bringing of our attention into the body and into this moment. So many of the reasons, again, why we're suffering is because we're not connected to our body, the sensations of our body, the signals of our body, and we're not connected with our breath, right? Really, really key pieces. Also, discomfort is directly proportional to the level of stress, tension, and toxicity that are stored in our tissues, right? If you've got a high level of pain in your body, it's only because you're storing stress, tension, and toxicity. So job number one, again, is to use Ma Xing and other tools to get that moving for you, okay? So that's my gift and my promise to you, is that when we work together, this will be my job number one, my priority for you. And when we take a chunk of this stress, tension, and toxicity out of your tissues, it will be forever gone. You will never again be in the same place you were, right? We can accumulate more stress and tension, but once we get this huge chunk out of your bodily tissues and integrated within your nervous system and integrated within your mental and emotional bodies, now you're in a whole different reality. You're in a whole different place, physically, mentally, emotionally, and energetically. And you will never again be in that same place. So it's a pretty amazing thing for me to have experienced and to be able to deliver people consistently. After Ma Xing, we move into eye-centric strength. Once we have that tissue health open and free and clear and things are flowing well, we can start to direct the flow using eye-centric strength. So, 3 phases of contraction, right? We need to engage the body with quite a bit of force in order to create change. If you think about it, we've been sitting, standing, driving, walking, lifting weights, all these different primarily concentric forces, meaning shortening towards your center, right? Including gravity. Everything's pulling in towards us. And we need to find a way to balance that. So by utilizing the force of contraction, we want concentric strength. We want pulling in of force, but we also want to be able to pull it away from ourselves and open that up. If we don't, we end up bound, tight, short, and unwilling and open to the moment. So a lot of times I'll be talking about the physical body, but the physical body is partnered equally with the emotional, the mental, the energetic bodies, right? Our experience physically determines our ability to access consciousness. It's not some foo-foo, woo-woo thing. Literally, if you have constriction in your tissues in your body, you've got constriction and inability to access your energetic body, your emotional body, your mental body. You've got limitations in terms of your access to what we call consciousness. Okay? So we use these three forces in order to pull open your body, and well, you use them, and I provide resistance so that you can pull open your own body. Step one is isometric. So if you hold your own wrist and provide resistance for yourself, you just push your hand into your wrist and wrist into your hand and squeeze and hold, right? That's isometric contraction, holding steady. Now if I continue to hold like this, but I let this hand is 49% resistance and this hand is 51, and then I exhale, when I curl towards myself, that's concentrically shortening the bicep towards the center of my body. So concentric contraction. And then if I keep resisting, this one's 51 now, this one's 49, and I resist, and this hand wins and pushes away and beats the force of resistance of the bottom hand, then that's eccentric, lengthening the muscle under force. Okay? So those are the three phases of contraction of any muscle in your body. We need to be able to engage in those three ways to create permanent and noticeable changes in the way that we function and what's being held on to and what is available to us in terms of the expression of our body and the functioning of our body. So the first step in isometric contraction, our job in this work together, the isometric contraction allows you to recruit energy and recruit tissues. So if I'm holding myself in stable static resistance like this, my body's getting the signal from brain to muscle, brain to muscle, brain to muscle saying, hey guys, wake up, right? So all of a sudden, after about 30 seconds of resisting with full force, now I've went from 10 to say 100 fibers and they're all awake, right? Now I can start to mobilize those fibers through the concentric contraction. Boom. Concentric contraction is mobilizing the energy and starting to move the energy up that channel and through that muscular tissue. Boom, right? Then I resist and push away. Now we're lengthening and opening the tissue, and all the energy that was stored up in that muscle, now we're pushing it away and we're pulling that muscle and opening the energy down through the tissues that we're opening. So first we recruit, then we strengthen, and then we lengthen under force. Boom. Those three together create an opportunity for our bones that are attached to all these soft tissues to start to return to original rotational relationships, which means, good news is, you won't need a chiropractor anymore, very rarely. Well, you need anyone to align you. As time goes on, those tissues start to balance themselves and the bones settle into place, the nerves settle down, everything starts to function freely in a really nice way, and your pain goes away. So that's the promise and the hope of a regular practice within this system. I like to say that we are in unconscious resistance of ourselves all the time, and to make that resistance conscious, in the example I'm showing you, we start to do it all over the body in different ways, but this process of resisting and staying present with yourself is very challenging. It takes a lot of energy and effort and full attention in order to do it. But the reward is huge because, as I said in the beginning, your body is not separate from your emotional, mental, energetic bodies, right? Your physical body is the foundation for your experience as a human being. And the more that you can stay present and connected with your physical body, as you pull open the tissue and start to realign the energy, the bones, and everything that's functioning in this body, the more access we get to consciousness, and the more access we get to who we really are, right? We become accustomed to acting out conditioning of who people think we should be, who we thought we were, but who are we truly? Who are we? Who is Isaiah, right? And it may seem a little out there, but this is the truth. We have to start to know who we are, and that is not a concept. It's not a concept. Embodiment is very different than concept. You can understand how to be a world-class weightlifter, but that doesn't make you one, right? You need to do the work day in, day out for 10, 15, 20 years to gain that level of integrity and strength and accomplishment and embodiment, right? So this is the process that we go through, is learning how to remove the stuff that's in the way, stress, tension, and toxicity, and start to embody ourselves more to a more full degree so that we can live a more active, full, impactful, happy life. One in which we can not only serve ourselves, but we can serve other people around us. TBI produces verifiable, repeatable, consistent, and profound results. I've never found a system in my experience, in my life. I've tried countless different therapies. I've been involved with natural therapy since I was a child, and there are many amazing systems. For me though, and my life experience and what I needed, there's nothing that's been able to produce greater results than this true body intelligence and the system that I'm going to be working with you and educating you about. The goal, as I said, is to create healthy tension. True body intelligence engages and reconnects all four aspects of the human being: physical, mental, emotional, and energetic or spiritual. All four aspects are affected simultaneously through this work, right? We have position and movement, physical. We have thought and reflection, mental. We have the breath and the tone and the emotion. And we have energetic or light body in the nervous system of the spiritual body. So all four are being utilized and brought into each movement and each practice within this true body intelligence system. Our focus through all the work is to increase our flexibility, not just physically, but in all levels. The process of safely engaging and increasing your ability to flex, your flexibility, is to be aware of your position. To be able to produce resistance, you have to be able to have resistance. If you're not strong enough, then you can't create the change in your body that you like. So we need some level of strength. It doesn't need to be a lot, but it needs to be proportional to the level of stress and tension that you've stored up in your body. So a 9-year-old woman's going to be different than a 20-year-old football player, right? Third, contract and resist while moving. So you need to be able to contract and resist while you move. Identify sensations, breathe deeply and consciously, essential to the process of integration and to staying balanced and clear within the process of opening yourself. Right? Staying connected with yourself, especially throughout discomfort. Often as we go in and start to pull out the stress, tension, and toxicity within our physical structures, within our emotional body, within our mental process, and within our nervous system, there can be a lot of discomfort. So approaching that discomfort and staying present with it is essential. Again, healing only exists in this moment. You can only access it in this moment, right? We can be healing things from the past or preventing things from accumulating in the future, but it all happens in this moment, okay? The effective process of this effective process, when done correctly, increases your consciousness, awareness, and intelligence. Now, one of the most important tissues that we need to start to learn about is fascia, fascial tissue, right? We have nervous system tissue, nervous tissue, and fascia, both. The ones that are talked about the least in terms of conventional medicine or life in general. Most of us haven't even heard of it, right? Unless you're involved in body work or fitness or something, you might not even ever heard the word fascia before. And it's one of the most important tissues in your body and one of the most abundant, okay? Every single muscle cell you have is surrounded by a layer of fascia. Every muscle spindle or a bunch of fibers is connected by sheaths, these envelopes of fascia. And then every muscle belly that you have this is a muscle belly. Every muscle belly is surrounded by a layer of fascia. For those of you who have looked at chicken before, when you pull the skin back from the chicken, you see the meat, and there's a thin white viscous layer between the skin and the meat. That's fascia. And that surrounds, like a network, everything in the body except for bones, surrounded by fascia. Every muscle, all the connective tissue, everything's surrounded by this really nice layer of fascia. and it's an envelope. So fascia is 10 times more dense than muscle tissue. So it helps to keep the shape and functioning, the functional tension of muscles, right? So we might have healthy tissue, healthy muscle tissue, but if this fascia gets constricted and dry, it starts to decrease the ability of the muscle to function healthily anymore. So we really need to focus on increasing the connection and the health and the juiciness of this fascia, and I'll explain it in a minute. So just so you understand, we've got bone here, any two bones in the body, and we have a muscle connecting the two bones, right? The muscle is connected to the bone by tendon. So we have muscle belly, we have a tendon here, the connective tissue, that allows the muscle to attach to that bone. Right? Bone attaches to bone with a ligament, but muscle attaches to bone through tendon. And this is what we want to really focus on, because we need to activate the musculature really strongly through isometric, concentric, and eccentric contraction to create long-term positive changes in your body and your ability of all four aspects of you to function well and to be open, right? So we need to understand that engaging and staying engaged in that muscle is what's necessary to engage the fascia that surrounds it enough to create permanent change. Now the fascia is 10 times more dense than the muscle. So how much strength are you going to need to generate in order to create change in that sheath that surrounds it that's 10 times more dense, right? Quite a bit of force in the moment and quite a bit repetitively in order to create the change and pull open and create a new alignment of that fascial tissue that surrounds your muscle, right? Your blood flow, your lymph, your electricity is potentially being slowed down by too tight a network of fascia, an envelope that's too tight around your muscle. So our job is to affect that through eccentric contraction, and that's what we do in the eccentric strength. The primary focus for most of us is to create more length. Some of us need more strength. So we build the strength first and then we go after the length. But again, we're sequestering and holding on to emotional experience and stress and trauma and toxicity, and we need to find a way to get it out. Okay, the forces of gravity, all these things are pressing into us and shortening us. So we need that force, and fascia is the key. So fascia is a remarkable tissue, one of the most important and fascinating tissues in your body. We used to think that the human eye was the most proprioceptive organ, meaning that your ability to feel yourself in space and balance yourself and feel your surroundings is your proprioception. We thought the human eye was in control of that. It was the most key figure in that relationship. And what they've realized is that fascia actually is. And it works as a network throughout your whole body, so that if you injure your small toe on one side, it might lead to headaches and tension up behind your cranium here and all around your head. It's all connected like a long network of sheaths that are connected. So really important that we know, not only is it controlling our proprioception, but it's, which is really important, because think about as you age and your fascia gets more dense and tight and dry, right? Less communication starts happening in that fascia. What does it lead to, right? Decreased proprioception. You start to forget where you are in space. You might fall. You start to lose your connection with your spatial orientation, right? And that leads to potential injury. So not only for our own health and well-being and being fluid in life, but also for our own safety, we need to have healthy functioning fascia. So the muscles and fascia both need to be hydrated, they need to be juicy, so that we can be mobile, resilient, have integrity, right? So how do we hydrate this fascia? So muscles and fascia are very different tissues in certain ways, but they also are very similar in terms of their needs. They both need to be hydrated, they want to be juicy, so that we can be mobile and resilient and have integrity, right? We need strength to have integrity, but we also need to have openness and flexibility, length, right? So we need a balance. Fascia is the same way. So we want to have integrity and strength, but we also want to have fluidity. Okay? So in order to do that, the most important thing, how can we hydrate our fascia, right? Number one, vary movement patterns and activities. When you wake up in the morning and you're a little stiff and a little crunchy, that's literally the fascia cinching down on itself and creating basically like a beginning step in the process of creating scar tissue. Like these get bound together overnight, and then we start to move the fluids through again, and then we feel better, right? So by nature, they start to tighten up on each other. So we have to vary our movement patterns and activities and positions in order to get them moving. Secondly, we have to rest. That rehydrates it, right? In the same way that rest rebuilds muscle tissue. You can't just overwork in the gym all the time and expect to gain size. You gotta rest, right? Same thing with the fascia. We have to give rest in order to rehydrate it. Third, we have to diminish the dense, brittle fascia, produce new, juicy, viscous, thin, pliable layers through moshing and eccentric resistance. These are two very key and effective ways to do it. There's other ways too, but these are the most effective ways I've found to create long-lasting, amazing levels of change within the fascial tissue. And therefore, as you change that fascia, you change the envelope, and you change the opportunity of the muscle to flow more blood and lymph and electricity, more life force. Okay? The result of this is connectedness, springiness, and youthfulness. Who doesn't want to feel younger and more alive and have more bounce in their body, more resiliency, right? That's what we lose when we get older. When our fascia is healthy, it allows us to maintain healthy tension, right? When those fibers are open and everything's moving fluidly, then we have healthy tension. We've got integrity, but we've also got flow and movement. The difference between like a redwood tree and bamboo, right? One is solid and strong, but if a big enough wind comes, boom. That bamboo is super strong and rigid, but also can move to the degree that, you know, strong winds can come for days and weeks at a time and not uproot that bamboo. Okay? So we got 4 different body types here, and I'm going to be explaining. It's a very simple concept, but one that I hadn't thought about before I went to my teacher's course and started to learn about this years ago. So we've got a couch potato. Hopefully you can see my silly drawings here. The couch potato, in their musculature, the average couch potato, this is just average, just a way of looking at the body and starting to understand examples, right? There's always exceptions. But the average couch potato has short, weak muscles because they're inactive and they're sitting in a position that's shortening the muscles, shortening and tightening the fascia, okay? So they're short and weak overall. The average yogi is going to be doing long passive stretches for periods of time, and when you do a long passive stretch, your engagement of the muscle tends to decrease. And if you really don't know what you're doing, if you're engaging the muscle properly, you're safe. But as soon as you stop engaging that muscle, then the stress of the exercise moves from the muscle belly out into the connective tissue and the joint. The only protective mechanism at that point your body has to blowing out a joint is by tightening down and clamping down around the muscle and connective tissue with the fascia, right? Fascia gets tight and brittle trying to protect the joints. So in general, yogis will be overstretched and weak because they're not engaging the musculature enough. They're in too many passive positions. And although it offers you great access to the breath and to the energy body, you're often missing the key component of maintaining healthy tension in the physical body, which is contraction, resistance. Okay? Third would be the gym rat, the muscle guy, or girl, and they are going to be strong and short. You know, they're packed, they're super strong, but they're going to tend to be limited in their range of motion. So a little too short and a lot too tight. Okay, so rather than any of these extremes, what we want to do in our own body and what we want to encourage and what I want to encourage you to experience and to feel is what we consider healthy tension, which is long and strong, right? Present and grounded, vulnerable and powerful, open and honest, awake, aware, connected, autonomous, generous in mind, body, spirit, free to be uniquely who we are. When we have healthy tension in our body, we're more ourselves than when we don't. We get that stress, tension, and toxicity, we move it out. All of a sudden, wow, we have all this freedom of energy, this freedom and access to our body and to all of our bodies, so that we can start to make choices consciously, start to realize, well, what do I really want? What do I want to feel? How do I think? How do I want to experience this moment? What life do I want to lead? And as we're more free in our body, we have the opportunity to start to ask those questions and start to deliver to ourselves the life that we want to lead. Okay? As we become more integrated, physically, mentally, emotionally, and energetically, we discover where our genius is and naturally begin to access and apply these gifts in our daily lives. What's more important than taking knowledge, embodying it, and having it show up in your day-to-day life, right? A situation that used to trigger you, a person you couldn't serve, someone you can't be present for, something you couldn't do before. All of a sudden now you're capable and available to the moment, and you're in your balanced self, you're in your highest self, you're accessing your potential in a moment that used to stress you out or splinter you. Now you're present for it. What's more valuable than that? I'm going to move on to the other aspect that I offer all my clients, which is life coaching. And there's many different names for it, none of which I'm too fond of, but I'm going to call it life coaching today. And I'm going to say that the key aspects that are most important to me, that I love to provide for people, are health and wellness related, keys to self-care, right? Diet and nutrition, emotional, mental, energetic connection, exercise, pain eradication. Love getting rid of pain for people. Empowerment, guiding you towards and into an integrated, whole, happy you. There's nothing that matters more to me than being healthy and happy. And if I can provide an opportunity for you to experience that in your own way, that makes me so fulfilled and complete in my process. I feel that that's what I'm here for in so many ways, is to be able to serve you in that way. So it fulfills me and gives me self-esteem to be able to help you discover that process in your own life. So in my coaching, I help you discover information, techniques, processes. I hold space for you as you learn how to embody yourself more fully and lovingly. Right? You have to have self-love as a core aspect, of a core foundation of anything of real substance in your life. Anything that's really going to be transformational requires that you're in a process of self-love. So I help coach you to become aware of that, to awaken to the importance of self-love, and then how to apply it and bring it into the moment. I guide you to be your best self. Right? Again, I think that is the foundation, is you being integrated and whole in all these aspects so that you can access more of your potential. I help you heal and improve your relationships with yourself, your loved ones, and the world. When we pull the stress, tension, and toxicity out of your body, and we sit down and get present and take the moment that is normally passed by or distracted from, and we really get present, and I help you engage with yourself, that's the change, that's the healing in that moment that creates a huge shift in all relationships in your life. And I think there's very few things that are more important than that dynamic of learning to trust yourself and to be honest with yourself and to get clear within yourself. I help you to remove old tensions, stress, and toxicity from your body and life. I teach you about gratitude and inspire you to realize more of your potential. Right? Gratitude is one of my favorite things. Appreciation and gratitude are keys to success, keys to happiness, and keys to moving out of a victim state where you feel you don't have the responsibility, you don't have control, you can't make decisions, you are affected in a debilitating way by people and circumstances in your life. I help you to realize that those are just what they are, people and circumstances, and that your relationship with yourself dictates how you plug in or not to all of those people and things. You are autonomous. Your health and happiness is the foundation of your life, And I help you to feel that and see that and experience that more and more each day, and start to really step up. Your level of health and well-being will elevate according to your realization of that truth. I assist you in turning your dreams into your reality, right? Why keep them as dreams? They can become reality the more we apply the tools that I have to share with you, and the more you show up for yourself day in and day out, the more your dreams become reality. It's available to you, it's possible. And I'm here to help you in that way, in gentle and profound and powerful ways. And in a moment's notice, we have to be flexible enough to engage with each other, and I have to be flexible enough to help you engage with yourself in the most important ways, so that you can fully meet yourself and wake up to more of your potential. Our health and our ability to create healthy tension, to move obstruction and stress and tension out of our lives, out of our bodies, out of our relationships, out of our choices and the way we think, the way we emote, right? Those are essential pieces to living the life of your dreams. We stand in our own way more than any other circumstance or any other person. And I know that coaching is effective because I can help you to do that for yourself. I can help you to realize that first and foremost, and then start to apply and practice tools and processes that allow you to move into the realization of actually who you are, the genius you have to share, and the life that you are here to lead. It's a magical life, one that you deserve to have full participation in, and one that I can help you to access more potential within. Those of you who are ready, those of you who really want to create change and transformation in your life and in your body and in your process, upgrading who you are and your ability to access the moment, really showing up for the people in your lives in a really deep way, you're the people I want to serve. I want to help light you up so that you can share with the people around you and create change in this world, right? If all of us were doing that in some fashion relative to our genius, relative to our passion and our heart, what's speaking to us, then I feel like the world's a better and better place all the time. So I'm here to do my small part, and this is one of the aspects. So I look forward to engaging with you, helping ignite you in your own process, and helping you to see and fulfill your dreams and make them a reality. Thank you so much. I wish you complete abundance, health, awareness, and love in your life.